Welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday YouTube channel. I am your host, Ryan Hartley. This channel is for heart-centered leaders just like you. I hope our time spent together helps you leave a heart print where those around you are left better than yesterday. These interview sessions are sponsored by our great friends at Elevate Online Marketing. On episode 179, I'm joined by April Shprintz, the creator of the generosity culture and founder of Driven Outcomes. April is a Business Accelerator, speaker, and author of the Magic Blue Rocks book, The Secret to Doing Anything. It's a book about the life-changing impact of a winning mindset. As the creator of the generosity culture, April lives her dreams, helping innovators and leaders grow their businesses through a combination of pouring into their people, their clients, and their community. April is a proud veteran, having served 7 years in the United States Air Force as a television news anchor and executive producer. She's a graduate of University of Maryland and holds an MBA from the University of Texas. It is a great conversation, one in which I inspires your heart set for generosity. Here we go, episode 179 with April Shprintz. April, welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm very, very good. I'm very, very good. I've put out to my community that I was having someone on talking about creating generosity cultures, and I've said, what questions would you like me to ask? And I've got a handful of questions. So this one has provoked some curiosity, but I'd love to know.
I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to know before we get going, the legacy of Aunt Sue.
Oh, yes. Well, she really is why there is a generosity culture.
Hmm.
So, when I was very young, 9 years old, I came home one day from school, completely unexpected, and this regal, beautiful, very professional woman was in my home, which otherwise was a shambles. And it was because my mother had self volunteered to go to rehab because she was having problems at work with alcohol. And Sue Harper was the head of human resources at her company who did something that was pretty unprecedented at the time. The companies did help folks if they self-identified and paid for them to go to rehabilitation, which was fantastic. But an executive at a company going to the home to help make that transition was so uncommon. But she knew that my mom had a little girl. She'd seen me at company picnics and things like this. So, this day that could have been so incredibly horrible for me and terrifying was made into this life changing moment because this woman explained to me what was happening and positioned it in such a way, instead of saying, "You're going to lose your mother for 30 days and who knows what's going to happen," and all of this. She told me how brave my mother was and that my life was going to get better. And even more so, impactful to me, she said, "I think you're special. I think you can do amazing things, and I want to be your friend." And what was so incredibly impactful about that generous act from her was that she was the first really successful adult, other than teachers, I had ever met. So, this woman saying that she thought I was special and could do amazing things when I knew I wanted to do things that most of the people in my sphere said wasn't possible, that was a game changer for me. And she did become my friend. She is still my friend. She's 90 years old now, and we still talk and write letters. And she just became my first and most influential mentor because she was willing to give of her time.
That's so powerful. I really, really love that story. And it's really, I have a 9-year-old, my son is 9. I can only,
Corey, right?
yeah, Corey,
I saw
absolutely.
his podcast episode. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, but I can only imagine, him and having to experience that. And I think for me as a parent, if someone had at my workplace showed that level of humanity and care and
Mhm.
compassion, wow, what a legacy. Thank you for sharing that. And I guess, you've had someone embody what it means to be a, a generous disposition, a generous heart set, as I would call it. And I guess, how have you then taken this this role model and this spirit to them being something that you are centering around, not just a way of life, but also a way of business?
Well, it's so interesting. So, Sue also gave me my first opportunity in the corporate world.
Mm,
So, I wanted to work in business when I was only 16 years old. And I came to Synthetic Industries and said, which was where she worked at the time, and said, would you be willing to hire me? I had my resume and all my things. And she said, I can't hire you because I don't have a position for you. And that would be creating one would be an abuse of my
mhm,
role. But I can give you 2 weeks as a temp to
mm,
do work with different divisions, and you can fill in for people on vacation. And if you do it right, you can make a place for yourself.
mm,
And what's so interesting is I knew just innately, because I guess it was Sue telling me, when she said, do it right, I was like, you've got to help. You've got to help people as much as you can and do
mm,
anything and everything you can to make things easier and better for others. So, right at the beginning of my career,
mhm,
and spoiler alert, I did end up earning a position there because
mm,
I helped so many different people, which was fantastic. That became my go-to. I didn't have to know the most. I didn't have to have the most skills or any of those things. I was just always seeking to help. And no matter what happened, it always ended up being the answer, whether it was when I was in the military or corporate America, when
mm.
everyone else is like, we don't know what to do. And they'd ask me, I, without even realizing it, was falling back on, well, we'll just give our time, we'll give our help. And it was always that mindset of generosity.
Mm. I love that. And you just talked about going into business, and I understand that your first business was Magic Blue Rocks.
It was at the age of 6.
Tell us about the heart behind that story.
So I found out when I was 6 years old from another student at school that I was poor. And it's so interesting when you're a child because
Mm,
you don't have an awareness of the uglier things in life. And so, even though a lot of things had happened up until that point that would point to me being poor, I'd never really figured it out.
mm,
And once he explained it to me, and not unkindly, he just logicked it out for me. He was a very bright kid. And but I was so ashamed. I
mm,
still can remember that visceral hot feeling in my stomach and it up my neck and flushing into my face of just shame. Like, this is a horrible thing to be, and I don't want to be this. And then thinking at the age of 6, for whatever reason, that if if my mom could solve us not being poor, she would have done it already. So I wasn't going to bother her with it. I was just going to
mm,
figure it out.
mm,
And I had an obsession at the time with the show, The Jeffersons, because this man owned dry cleaners and moved from the ghetto to the penthouse apartment. And so I was like, this is how you do it. You start a business. So I couldn't find anything in my house to start a business with other than a blue marker. But then I went outside while I was still thinking, and I saw the gravel in my driveway. And I thought, if I color those rocks blue, they'll be special, in a very childlike way, right? Where just changing the color of an egg made it magical at Easter, right? So
mm,
we'll just
mhm,
color it. And then I thought, I can give this rock some magic so that anyone who has one can do anything they believe they can do,
mm,
because I felt like I could do that. I had this incredible confidence as a child, confidence that later I feel like I lost and had to regain. But I really believed I could put that magic in those rocks, and then anyone who had them could do whatever they thought they could. And I also somehow innately knew only children would buy that. So I sold them at school.
mm.
And now what was funny is all the kids bought them with their lunch money, and I priced them badly. Leftover lunch money was 20 cents. That would have been the excellent price point. It was my first business. We all make mistakes in our first business. And so I did 25 cents because I was a big fan of quarters. And I thought, if the money adds up fast, that'll make me rich. So every kid in class pretty much charged their lunch. And that's something, I don't know if you have it in the UK, but in the US, at least at that time, and I think still, if kids didn't have lunch money, they could charge it and pay it later. Well, when a whole class charges a lunch, teachers alerted, and she found out what I was doing and told my mom. So
Hey, my friends, thank you for being with us so far. I hope you're enjoying the interview. I just wanted to take a quick moment to let you know about our signature Heartprint coaching. Our Heartprint coaching is for you if you're ready to go all in on becoming a heart-centered leader, ready to go all in on doing more of what you love, ready to see what you are capable of with support, guidance, and accountability. You're ready to go on a rapid, transformational journey that will change your life and others in as little as 3 months. Are you ready to show up with courage and share your gift with the world? Ready to start making an income and more impact by doing what you love? Ready to start leaving your legacy where those around you are left better than yesterday? In our Heartprint signature coaching, in our time together, I'll help you lead from your heart set. I'll help you develop other people and your team. I'll help you bring your heart work to the world. I'll help you start leaving a legacy and capturing examples of your impact. I will help you be someone you love, to do more of what you love, and to serve people that you love. It's an amazing opportunity for someone who's ready to go all in and be a heart-centered leader. I'll throw in loads of other bonuses, including your life languages profile, access to our Master Heart and Mind membership, and even some Always Better Than Yesterday merchandise. Head to abty.co.uk/coaching to find out more, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. That's abty.co.uk/coaching. Here we go. Back to the interview. That's so interesting. Thank you for sharing that story. And I just,
Yeah.
I think so much of the word I used earlier, heart set. I think so much of our heart set and our disposition for serving and loving on other people is often formed through some of those painful experiences. And how did you then start to codify as a because I know that we live in a business world that's very intellectual, it's very driven on kind of strategy, tactics, and ROI. How did you transmute that kind of heart set for generosity to one of an approach and a methodology which they could start to use?
It's funny. I think it is so simple that I almost feel guilty calling it a methodology
Yeah.
because it really came down to, okay, if you pour into, and that's what
Mhm.
I see of Aunt Sue and other mentors I've had, and what I've looked to do for people is to pour into them, to give
Yeah.
them your time, to give them your care and help them be a better version of themselves. And I realized through different roles that I had in the corporate world and working in divisions that were not profitable and then they became profitable. Okay, what did you do? And short version, I'd be like, well, I helped. But then I started thinking, okay, well, first I poured into the people.
Mm.
And when I poured into the people, I also modeled for them what we needed them to do, which was pour into our clients. And then, as just a natural evolution, we were then also pouring into the community, whether it was local or global. It just depended on the business we were in. And finding that there's such a symbiotic relationship. Some people are like, oh, well, that's just the right thing to do, and that's good. No, it's good business. Because usually inside of a year, and sometimes much faster than that, you start to see this tremendous increase in revenue, increase in customer satisfaction. Because you're working with your clients so closely, they often give you ideas for ways to expand your business. And it just became this incredible thing that I realized was a repeatable process. And that's what I take to folks and help them with. And it's not hard. They don't need me. They could do it just by doing those things. And I hope that they do.
Yeah. And I was watching a few of your videos on YouTube, and it looks like we share a drink of choice, which is an old fashioned. Was that right?
Oh, yes. Big fan. Big fan.
What is it you like about an old fashioned?
I think but I love bourbon. I'm a big bourbon person. And I think it's that there are these simple elements that
Mm.
together make something that feels extraordinary.
I'm with you on that. Cheers. Cheers to that. And you recently put some of your stories in a book.
I did. I did. shared a video on LinkedIn originally, I think. And I had gone home to do a little bit of my backstory and video it. And so I went back to that house where
Yeah.
I've made the magic blue rocks. And it was so incredible to see it and see how small it is. And I think it's really funny when you grow up a certain way. It's just how
Mm,
you grew up. You don't really understand how it looks to other people. So when I
mm,
posted it, I got this overwhelming response. And what I loved was the response from so many people was, that makes me feel like I can do anything
mm,
because I see where you are now. I see where you came from. Anyone could do it. And I thought, yes, that's exactly it. Anyone could do it. And one of the folks who saw the video, uh, who does boxing promotion and is a very successful entrepreneur in the direct sales industry, said, April, you need to share those stories. You need to help people see how possible it is for them by sharing what happened to you. And, Ryan, I'm not smarter or more talented, or I'm not well connected or any of those things that people think you have to be
yeah.
to accomplish your dreams. And if one person was able to go and then live the life that they wanted because that book could be their Aunt Sue,
Mm,
that was amazing for me. So it's a work of heart for sure. And I don't think that there's anything that I've done before that book that I put as much of my heart into.
I love that. And you and I are connected by the wonderful Bob Berg, and I think
Yes.
one of the reasons I spent a lot of time around Bob and his Go Giver Success Alliance was not to convince me to be a go giver, because his words gave me the words I needed, nearly 10 years ago to encourage the heart centered leader that was already there. But
Right.
the reason I got closer was to be better at receiving. So giving has always been in my nature, but
Yes.
I've always been quite close to receiving. And
Mm-hmm.
Peter, before I came on, he says, "Well, how do you help people overcome maybe some guilt or anxiety from benefiting from their generosity?"
Oh, I love this. Such a good question because I'll tell you, Ryan, I struggled with the exact same thing.
Mm, mm,
The giving and the helping was always easy. The receiving had to be learned.
mm,
And what I realized and what I share with other people is what you're doing and the way that you impact people, however you do it, is such a gift to them
mm,
that they want to give back to you. And receiving that, whether it is from that individual or another individual, is a gift to them. So, as great as you feel when you help others, wouldn't you want to facilitate other people getting to feel that way too? And I think that
mm.
having a giver view receiving and a way to give again takes away that guilt and that maybe I don't deserve it, because there are folks who feel like maybe they don't when absolutely they do.
Mm.
And viewing it through that lens seems to be helpful to a lot of folks.
Yeah, I like that. You spent how long did you spend in the United States Air Force?
Almost 7 years.
So 7 years. How did you then leave a um, an armed forces and
Hmm.
then be drawn into the kind of business world? Because my background is policing, and then coming
Hmm.
into a corporate world, you have different mentalities, you have different
Hmm.
perspectives and priorities, and we're not there to make money in an armed service or a police force, and then you come out into the wide world, and there are different priorities and different things. How were you drawn into the world of consulting in the way that you are?
So, do you mean the consulting that I'm doing now, or when I first went into just the corporate world from the military?
Yeah, a bit of both, bit of your path in general.
So, when I first got out of the service, and I always knew I was going to do that, as much as I loved the military and it was a
Mm,
life changing experience for me, the one thing that I found challenging about it is the whole age and time and rank thing to be able to do things. So, if you're
mhm,
someone who likes to continuously grow and do bigger and better things, it can be challenging sometimes in my career field, exceptionally so, because you had to be at least this old to do more than what I'd done in broadcasting. So that led me to getting out.
Mm,
And it's funny, from a young age, I wanted to do a bunch of different careers. And I really always wondered why you had to pick one.
mm,
And after having my time in the military and then going into the corporate world, I realized you really don't have to. And I spent time in the financial industry, and then I went to a very successful startup, which we didn't know when I went that it was going to be very successful, but that was very lucky.
yep.
And I realized that I was doing the same thing in a bunch of different industries, which was helping people accelerate and build infrastructure and just be the best version of themselves or their company. And that naturally led to me consulting because I wanted to help more people and more companies and have more of an impact than I could within one single company.
Mm, I love that. I know that the three levels that you pour into, as you say, is all about people, clients, and community. And
Mm-hmm.
as I was soaking that in, I really resonated to my time when I was a leader in the police, and I got a really bad kickback when I took my team to a local farm. We did some team building at a local
Mm-hmm.
farm where we would help them. I can't remember what we did. We turned loads of wooden pallets into some flower beds where they could sort of plant things, and we would help
Mm-hmm.
out. So for me, it was great to be able to do some service work in the community and build a team. It was like a win-win situation, right?
Sure.
And I got a lot of stick from senior leaders saying, what was I doing, wasting time doing that? What a bad use of time. What would your perspective on that be? Why might that have actually been a good thing for a team to go and do?
So I'm going to answer your question in two ways. One is going to be to reference a movie that I just saw that I thought was amazing, Top Gun Maverick. Could not have been better. Have you seen it?
I haven't yet.
You've got to go see it. I was shocked at how good it was. So, but it's really interesting. So they're doing this, do or die mission, and he's got to build a team, and they're flying, and it's impossible, and all of the things. And one day he takes these fighter pilots to the beach and has them play beach football. And his senior leader came and said, "We've got to do this mission. They're supposed to be training. What are you doing?" And he lays back in his beach chair in his super cool way, because he's Tom Cruise. And he says, "You told me to build a team.
Yes.
I'm building a team."
Yes.
And he points over to them.
Mm,
And I don't think you can say it much better than that. So,
yeah.
my second thing would be that what I find with leaders who grew up in a different generation is that people didn't pour into them the same way unless they were very fortunate and very lucky.
Mm,
So, what can be very important is helping them understand the metrics or the bottom line of why it makes sense,
mm,
because it is not a natural leap for them. And one of the things that I think we can all fall into the trap of is expecting that the way that we were treated is the way that we should treat others. And it really isn't. We can learn and grow and be better, just like you would as a parent.
mm. Do you find that to come a mentality expectation being like a barrier to the generosity culture? And if so, what are some of the other barriers that you might hear from time to time?
So it does sometimes, especially in an industry where people have grown up being badly treated, and that's almost a badge of honor. That, if you're not badly treated, you won't be good at it in the end.
Mm,
And just
yeah.
helping them understand, you'll actually be better at it faster. No, it sounds weird.
Yeah.
And at that point, I have to share metrics. I have to share
Yeah.
other people in other industries who've done it, and, just give them a little bit of that warm fuzzy that this isn't just, soft skills and this
Mm,
nice lady who's saying this is how you do it. And the other barrier is that when I say generosity culture, people tend to grab their wallets. They want to know how much money this is going to cost
mm,
them.
mm.
And really doesn't cost money, it costs time. So it's actually much more valuable.
Yeah.
And it is getting the leaders who most want their company and team to embody this, to understand that the only way to truly do that is for them to embody it and model it. And it comes from the top down.
Yeah, I love what you said about that cost is time, and it's that intention behind spending time with our team, with our people. And
Mm-hmm.
I've always valued getting to know the human behind the team member, their hopes, their dreams,
Mm-hmm.
their fears. And there's a wonderful example that you share from a company on one of your YouTube videos. Do you mind sharing that one?
Sure, if you give me a little more information
Yeah.
on which one it is.
It's when you have a talk with someone in I think it was a digital company, and you realize
Mm-hmm.
that they have a skill set that the company didn't even realize that they had.
Oh, absolutely. So, and the reason I say that is because I do it in every single company I go into. So I have so many of these stories. This was pretty remarkable. So I go in, and then one of the first things I do is have those conversations with people. And it's one of the things that I encourage others to do is this is how you pour into people. You talk to them about things that aren't their deliverables, aren't their job, aren't what
Yeah.
you need for them. Who are they? You know,
Mm,
once they know that you care about them as a person, you have a different relationship. And oh, by the way, you now understand so much more about how to empower them and motivate them and all those things. So, in having this conversation with a person who was in a low level role, it was an accounting role.
mm,
I realized that she had accepted the role because she just wanted to get into the company,
mm.
and she was overqualified. And beyond that, she knew more about the way the company operated than the CEO did. And it didn't take long talking with her to realize what an asset she was.
Yeah.
And in a move that I was surprised and excited they supported, I took her from being in accounting to being the director of operations.
Mm,
And the results were unprecedented. Their revenues grew an additional 50% over what they had projected year over year, which was pretty phenomenal. And I can directly attribute that growth to her moving, where she was so much more able to help in every instance of what the company needed. And I tell folks that when you do pour into your people, you find these hidden gems, and they're in every company. People who are not being fully, empowered and utilized in the best ways, who don't necessarily speak up. And you have those people who are like, you need to put me here and I need to do this. But you have these other amazing rock stars that you don't
mm.
even know about who will never raise their hand. You've got to go find them.
Yeah. I love that. Time and intention, and a willingness and a want to do that, right?
Well, and a belief that that is time invested, not
Yeah.
wasted.
Yeah. Mm.
Because people say they don't have time to do it, and I counter with, you don't have time not to.
Hmm.
This is where that will pay off.
And I think this is a shift in focus, isn't it? Because a lot of legacy leadership is one of serve me rather than how can I serve you, and how
Mm-hmm.
can I dedicate my time and attention to you within the
Mm-hmm.
team so I can best create an environment for you to give of your best whilst you're with us. Um, so I think people are coming around to that idea of servant leadership, but
Mm-hmm.
you then go a step further and have the same posture of heart towards clients.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about that and how that might look and sound.
So to me, that's the biggest differentiator that we have, because unless you have some brand new technology that's patented, no one is that special in what they do for that long.
Hmm.
So the most special thing you can be is someone who provides something I really need and really and truly cares about me beyond the dollars that I exchange for the service that you have.
Mm,
So when you're really taking care of clients that way, it's so interesting because you can easily deepen relationships with them and do even more business with them because you become such a partner, and they become just an evangelist for what you do. I've literally seen companies be able to have less folks doing outbound sales because they have so many inbound leads based on current client experiences. And it cannot be valued more. And especially when you think of things like, you think of COVID and what just happened with the markets in general. And when it came time, because perhaps there was a revenue issue and you're deciding which of your
Mm,
vendors you're going to pay and which of the ones you're not, think of how impactful that is in a situation like that,
mm,
where they really value you. So you're working together on how do we figure this out. And I think that there's nothing that you could do for your clients that would be more impactful than have them know you are on their side. And oh, by the way, they will tell you in a kind way the things that are wrong with what you're doing or how they
hmm
could be
hmm
better. And the innovation and
Yeah.
ideas that come from that are unreal because they are your customer, but they're just far enough removed from the way you see what you're doing or what you're producing to give you the best feedback of anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's so powerful, isn't it? Because that stuff's happening anyway, with
Mhm.
that opportunity for improvement is always there. It's just whether we get that ripple effect back to say, hey, did you know?
Yeah.
I I often get brought into organizations where there is someone that is almost my sponsor. It's like they believe in the type of
Hmm.
leadership we believe, but they need help scaling that by creating a
Sure.
culture of
Hmm.
heart-centered leadership, a generosity culture. How might you help a leader create a culture of generosity?
So again, it comes down to the modeling of it, to embodying it,
Mm,
and to bringing in folks who it resonates with. Because what's interesting, and I'd love to know if this happens to you, Ryan, I have folks in companies who run absolutely towards it. And then there will always be one or two who run the other way, right? They're just like, this is not for me. I don't fit. And I consider that a blessing because one, I want that person to go where they do feel like they fit. I want them to be successful. Two, sometimes getting that person with that attitude and that mindset out of a company is possibly the most beneficial thing I've done for them because that allows that entire team with a different way of viewing the world to gel together in a different way.
that's powerful. You made me think. I was being introduced to a team by my sponsor, and there was probably about 20 of people on this call, and
Hmm.
the sponsor said, "Team, what do you think about the work that I've got Ryan in to do?" And it just went silent. and this one brave guy popped up and goes, "Well, it remains to be seen whether Ryan's any good at his job or not. I guess time will tell." I thought, okay.
I love that though, because
Yeah,
I love that he said what most people are probably thinking.
yeah.
So how'd you respond to that?
Well, everything within me, this small child within me, was like, it felt like I needed to justify everything. Like, oh, but I didn't. I did quite the opposite. I kept calm, kept myself, and I just thought, right, now's not the time for talking. Let's, like you say, embody it. So I spent the next 6 months embodying everything I was there to do. And by the end of it, he became one of my biggest advocates because I had I revealed to him, luckily on this occasion, that I actually was okay at my job.
Which is
I built trust, and actually what I did, which was really smart, was I asked a lot of people as I interviewed them, who's who's some of the most influential people in this organization, and little did I know that they referred to this person as one of the most influential people in the room. So took the time.
I love that.
I poured into building a relationship with them, seeking their advice, seeking, not going in like an expert. I think nobody wants like people coming in, make like, here's a consultant. No, like I think a great consultant is exactly what you said, is you go in and you ask more questions than you give answers, right?
100%. Well, and I like that person because there's that person in every group, and
Yeah.
all they're doing is voicing what
Yeah.
everyone else is thinking.
Yeah.
And if they don't say it, if I don't have someone like that, which I actually love having someone like that, then I will say, I'm giving you a lot of words. I don't expect you to trust any of this. I
Yeah.
would ask
Yeah.
you to
Yeah.
watch my actions. And at the moment this resonates with you, I would like you to tell me. And at the moment you don't think this is going to work at all after experiencing it, I encourage you to call me out, because if this isn't important and impactful for you, then I've wasted our time.
Yeah, I love that. Permission. We're giving people permission.
Yeah, because it's okay if you don't think this is going to work for you. Maybe I can improve and get better. And not maybe, I mean, we always can, but maybe this will be the impetus for me to get better at what I do. I see feedback as the gift that keeps on giving. So go for it. And when you don't like me or we have a problem, if we step into that and handle it well, we, like you and that gentleman, are in a better place when it's done.
Yeah. And we then get back to, and then we get to reflect back on the initial bit and go, oh, look how far we've come.
Right. And those people, to your point, the skeptics are also the like most excited and evangelistic people about it. Once you convince them, they'll convince everyone else.
Yeah, so powerful, isn't it? So we've got to this point where it's not about being working harder. It's not about working smarter. What is it all about?
You know, it is about working in a way that is to the greatest good of everyone. And it's really funny because I tried to outwork people early in my career. Even when I was helping, I was like, that is my differentiator. I'll just work harder than everyone else.
Yeah.
And what I have come to realize in the last, say, 5 to 7 years is that when we are all working together towards a common goal, we're so much more powerful. And the work that you do, Ryan, making it a heart-centered workplace, that rallies people in a way that performance bonuses and, espresso machines and any of the things that people think make a culture can't do. They can't touch it.
Powerful, isn't it? It's really, really powerful. What does the phrase always better than yesterday speak to you?
So to me, it really says that we are always growing. And I personally believe when you stop growing, that's when you die. I really do. I think that you keep growing up until the point that you're like, well, I can't grow anymore, so I'm going to die. So for me, being better than yesterday in some way, every day is always the goal. And it's so much fun because I long ago quit competing against other people, because that's a loser's game, right? Like you just lose more often than you win. It's no fun because it's your whole messy life. It's their highlight reel. Like it's not a good game. Sure. But competing against you yesterday in how can I be a little better, I think promotes the consistency that makes super impactful results in your life.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's very true. April, thank you so much for all that you do in the world. Thank you so much for your time and spending it here.
Can I ask you one question?
Please do.
I have one question for you because I'm so curious. Yes. So I saw a countdown on your website that you're counting down to 5 years, and I think it's in like 20 something days. What is this? I want to know. I got excited.
So on the 25th of June here in the UK.
That's my birthday.
Oh, wow. The synchronicity. So on the 25th of June, I'm hosting an event here in the UK to celebrate our community turning 5. So 5 years ago, I coached a human being for the very first time under the banner of Always Better Than Yesterday. And it has been my act of love, of devotion, of discipline, of all things in between, of which I know all the highs, all the lows for the last 5 years. So we have a huge online community presence, but I'm really excited to bring people together in a real human existence for one night only, and many more to come in the future, I hope.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, congratulations. I'm going to have to check it out. Can I invite myself?
Yes, 100%. 100%. It'd be amazing. Honestly, I've got so many great friends in America, and I just hope one day I'll be stateside and bring all of my American friends together there too. It'd be so good to I just realized that it's such a gift to connect good people with good people. Like, long are the days gone where I felt like I need to be the community leader. I need to be out the front. I need to be the one. Like, I've just realized that a big part of my gift is the people I can connect you with.
And that's a beautiful thing, because good people knowing good people, going back to what you said with Bob and the Go
Yeah.
Giver and the Success Alliance, I just love that a group of like-minded people like that exist. It's why I just invited myself to your party, because I'm pretty sure that's the same thing.
You were already invited. Yeah, absolutely. You were already invited. April, I'll share all your links in our show notes. I'd be honored if you'd leave us with a final thought from your good self.
My final thought is that whatever occurs to you as an individual, whatever your dream is, no matter how big it is, no matter how crazy it seems to other people who are not you, it occurs to you because it is 100% possible for you. So if you focus more on the what of the dream than the how, life will lead you there and you will be astounded by the opportunities that come your way.
I hear that loud and clear. April, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for making it to the end of the interview here on YouTube. I hope that our time spent together has left you a little bit better than before you push play. Before you go anywhere, please leave a comment down below, some of your key reflections, your key takeaways. I love hearing from you and what this conversation has inspired in you. Let me know what you're going to do as a result of this conversation. I will be back next Wednesday where I will share another inspiring guest. To make sure that you don't miss that, please do subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified as soon as it goes live. If you're curious to know how I, through Always Better Than Yesterday, can serve you, your team, your organization, please do visit alwaysbetterthanyesterday.com, and it will be my honor and privilege to help you in any way I can. Keep leading, my friends. I've been Ryan Hartley, host of the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast here on YouTube. Always love.